Let's review what we've learned so far. The prophecy of Daniel 2 is fundamental to an understanding of the prophecies of Daniel, and also helps us decode the prophecies of the two beasts of Revelation 13. The prophecy of Daniel 2 predicts 4 successive empires. This prophecy is specific. It does not address the entire habitable globe. It focuses our attention on Babylon and its successors. Daniel 2, 7, and 8 are parallel, and each successive prophecy provides more detail. The Bible interprets itself. It gives us 4 keys to unlock the mysteries. The first key is found in Daniel 2:37, which reads, "You, O king, are a king of kings. You are this head of gold." The first of the 4 successive empires is the empire of Babylon under King Nebuchadnezzar. The second key is found in Daniel chapter 8. The angel explains to Daniel that the ram is Medo-Persia. Daniel 8:20 reads, "The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia." The third key is found in Daniel chapter 10. The angel was explaining the vision of the goat and the ram found in chapter 8. Daniel 10:20 reads, "Then he said, and when I have gone forth, indeed, the prince of Greece will come." The angel explains the kingdom of Greece with more detail in Daniel 11:2, which reads, "And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. By his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. Then a mighty king shall arise, who shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he has risen, his kingdom shall be broken up and divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, but not among his posterity." Daniel lived during the reign of Darius the Mede, who ruled under Cyrus the Great. The 3 kings of Daniel 11:2 refer to Cambyses, Smerdis, and Darius the Great, who is referred to in Ezra 4:24 as giving the command to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. The mighty king of Daniel 11:3 is Alexander the Great, who died at age 32, and his kingdom was divided among 4 generals. The Bible tells us that the parallel prophecies of Daniel 2, 7, and 8 refer to the kingdoms of Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. But which is the 4th kingdom? You need only pick up a history book to learn that Rome conquered the empire of Greece, but the Bible also confirms this empire. Daniel 11:20 reads, "There shall arise in his place one who imposes taxes on the glorious kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, and not in anger or in battle." Caesar Augustus was the first emperor of the Roman Empire, controlling imperial Rome from 27 BC until his death in AD 14. Augustus expanded taxation to the entire empire. The measures of taxation in the empire of Augustus were determined by population census, with fixed quotas for each province. The imposer of taxes in this prophecy is referring to Caesar Augustus. Luke 2:1 reads, "There went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city, including Joseph and Mary, who traveled to Bethlehem, where Jesus was born." The prophecy goes on to foretell that Augustus would be destroyed, but not in anger or in battle. On August 19, AD 14, Augustus died while visiting the city of Nola. Historians say that his wife Livia was rumored to have poisoned him with poisoned figs. Daniel 11:21 reads, "And in his place shall arise a vile person, to whom they will not give the honor of royalty, but he shall come in peaceably, and seize the kingdom by intrigue." The vile person who succeeds Augustus is Tiberius, his stepson. Through divorce, remarriage, and murders, Tiberius became the next emperor. Daniel 11:21 foretells that Tiberius would not be given the honor of royalty. Tiberius died in AD 37. After his death, the Senate refused to vote Tiberius the divine honors that had been paid to Augustus, and mobs filled the streets yelling, "To the Tiber with Tiberius," meaning that his end should be that of common criminals who were typically thrown into the river instead of being buried or cremated. The death of Jesus in AD 31 is also foretold in this passage. Daniel 11:22 reads, "With the force of a flood they shall be swept away from before him and be broken, and also the prince of the covenant." Jesus Christ, the Prince of the Covenant, was baptized and crucified during the reign of Tiberius Caesar. How did the Roman Empire fall? Daniel 2:41 reads, "Whereas you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided." The Roman Empire was not defeated by another stronger empire. Instead, it deteriorated over a very long period of time. In 476 AD, Emperor Romulus was deposed by a Germanic leader. No emperor ever again ruled in Rome. The empire was invaded by barbarian tribes, and it eventually was divided into what we now know as modern Europe, symbolized by the 10 toes of the image of Daniel 2 and the 10 horns of the 4th beast of Daniel 7. The Roman Empire reigned in 2 phases. Phase 1 was the Imperial Roman Empire, ruled by the emperors who conquered geographical territories. Phase 2 was the Papal Roman Empire, ruled by the papacy. papacy. This phase sought to control how men worshipped. The church controlled by wielding the power of the state. Daniel 7 foretells a little horn that arises after the Roman Empire is divided into 10 nations. Daniel 7:7 reads, "After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little one, coming up among them, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots." This fourth beast is the Imperial Roman Empire. Rome was divided into 10 nations after 476 AD. Daniel 7:8 foretells that the little horn uprooted 3 kingdoms. We know from history that by the year 538, the Herulite, Ostrogoths, and Vandals were destroyed by the papal state because they did not accept certain papal mandates. This gives us a definite time frame for the rise of the little horn power. In 538, Vigilus, the Pope of Rome, ascended the papal throne under the protection of the Roman general Belisarius. Thus, 538 AD is the date for the establishment of papal Rome as an independent power. The medieval papacy grew to strength from an early position of smallness, as described in Daniel 11:23 and in the prophecy of Daniel 7 and 8, which foretells that the little horn started small and became great. Daniel 11:23 reads that after the league is made with him, he shall act deceitfully, for he shall come up and become strong with a small number of people. Note that the rise of the papacy comes with deceit. We now know that the document known as the Donation of Constantine is a forgery. This is the document that the papacy used to bolster their claim to rule the Western Empire. The papacy also took control with a small number of people. They have never had their own army. Daniel 11:24 reads, "He shall enter peaceably even in the richest places of the province, but only for a time." The richest places of the province refers to Rome. At this time, the papacy was under the control of the Eastern Byzantine Roman Emperor at Constantinople. Popes were chosen because of liaisons they had with the emperor or with the powerful families of that time. Justinian conquered the Italian peninsula in the Gothic War of 535 through 554 and appointed the next 3 popes, a practice that would be continued by his successors. It was mandatory that a pope-elect seek the confirmation of his appointment from Constantinople. This practice was peaceful. Wars need not be waged to fight for the position of Pope. However, the leagues between the rich and the powerful were a necessity to rise to power. This prophecy foretells that the papacy would be very rich. The Pope, referred to as entering peaceably, will rule for a limited time. This is a reference to the 1260-day years of Daniel 7:25. Daniel 11:25 through 30 foreshadows the era of the Christian Crusades, where the king of the north is the papacy and the king of the south is Islam. During the period of 150 years from 1095 to 1250, 7 crusades were undertaken to take the Holy Land from the Muslims. During the crusades, the Muslims hired Greek naval vessels to assist them in opposing the crusaders. Daniel 11:30 makes reference to these as the ships from Kittim. Kittim, translated, means the West. These crusades were eventually expanded to Europe against the Christian heretics. Many of these heretics were sincere people who believed God and kept his commandments. Daniel 11:29 reads, "At the appointed time he shall return and go toward the south, but it shall not be like the former or the latter." Here in the reference, the former or the latter, we see 3 periods of conflict between the papal king of the north and the Islamic king of the south. These are also referred to as the 3 woes of Revelation 9:1 through 12. There are 2 major lines of interpretation of these woes. The first line is that in 612, Muhammad proclaimed his mission and the Saracen Empire spread as far north as Syria and as far west as Spain. But 150 years later, in 762 AD, the Muslim Caliph Ali Mansur built Baghdad, and from that time on, the Saracens began to withdraw. The second line reasons that from 674 AD until 824, the Muslim armies repeatedly attacked Constantinople, the capital of the Orthodox Catholic Church, but the Muslim armies never succeeded to fully conquer it during that time period. Islam didn't destroy these nations, but instead served as a continual affliction. Revelation 9:1 through 12 reads, "Then the 5th angel sounded, and as I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth, to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and smoke arose out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. Then out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth, and to them was given power to torment them for 5 months. 1 woe is past. Behold, still 2 more woes are coming after these things." Please note that the 5 prophetic months equal 150 literal years. The second woe woes described in Revelation 9:13 through 20. The Seljuk Turks, later succeeded by the Ottoman Turks, invaded Iran and adopted the Muslim religion. They destroyed the Byzantine Empire and took control of most of Asia Minor, renaming it Turkey. They were skillful horsemen and used gunpowder weapons. Their hour of judgment extended for a day and a month and a year. These time periods added together equal 391 years, which began in 1453 with the fall of Constantinople and ended in 1840 when the representatives of Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia signed the Treaty of London and protected the Ottoman Empire from Muhammad Ali, the governor of Egypt. The third woe occurs during the period of the seventh trumpet that is described in Revelation 10:1 through 11. This is when the plagues fall on the earth at the very end of time. Daniel 11:32-34 depicts a Protestant Reformation when many of the reformers were tortured and martyred, with many being burned at the stake. But despite suffering persecution, the reformers studied the truths of the Bible and sought to teach these truths to others. Daniel 11:32 reads, "But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits, and those of the people who understand shall instruct many. Yet for many days they shall fall by sword and flame, by captivity and plundering." Daniel 11:36-39 is a depiction of the evils of the 1260-year rule of the papacy and a description of the Counter-Reformation. During this time, the papacy published many blasphemous statements about the authority of the papacy. Daniel 11:36-39 reads, "Then the king shall do according to his own will. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god, shall speak blasphemies against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the wrath has been accomplished. For what has been determined shall be done." Verse 37 makes reference to celibacy. Verse 37 reads, "He shall regard neither the God of his fathers nor the desire of women." Verse 38 describes cathedrals, which have become the trademark of the Catholic Church, and the God the fathers did not know refers to the worship of the Virgin Mary. Verse 38 reads, "But in their place he shall honor a God of fortresses, and a God which his fathers did not know he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things." Daniel 11:40 brings us to the time of the end, which is the time that we are living in today. When did the time of the end begin? The 2300-day prophecy of Daniel 8:13-17 gives us this date. Daniel 8:17 reads, "Then it happened when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, he said to me, 'Understand, son of man, that the vision refers to the time of the end.'" The 2300-day prophecy began in the year 457 BC when the Persian king Artaxerxes gave the command to rebuild Jerusalem and ended 2300 years later in 1844. The angel Gabriel told Daniel that the vision refers to the time of the end. Therefore, the time of the end began in 1844. Daniel 11:40-45 describes one last great conflict between the papal king of the north and the king of the south. This conflict is most likely the conflict described in the third woe in Revelation 9. Daniel 11:40 reads, "At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through." Notice the king of the south is the aggressor here. There are many different interpretations of this passage. Here I will discuss one line of interpretation, but as to the precise events that will take place here on the earth, we may not know them until they actually take place. The purpose of prophecy is not always to provide prior knowledge of specific future events. Many Bible prophecies were given with the intention that they would be understood and build faith only after they were fulfilled. Jesus said about a certain prediction he made concerning himself, "I have told you before it takes place, so that when it does take place you may believe." John 14:29. One line of interpretation is that the conflict is between the papal king of the north and the Islamic king of the south. In June 2014, the Islamic State declared a caliphate, and on August 7, 2014, the Pope, for the first time since the fall of the Ottoman Empire, called for military action against a Muslim caliphate. Some believe that because of these two facts, the third last woe has begun. Others believe that the complete fulfillment of this prophecy cannot occur until the deadly wound of Revelation 13:3 is healed. Revelation 13:3 reads, "And I saw one of his heads as it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. They worshipped the beast, saying, 'Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?'" The beast of Revelation 13 is the same as the little horn of Daniel 7, referring to the papacy. The papacy has never had its own military forces. In this scenario, the military force in this third conflict will come from an alliance of the papacy with the United States, as foreshadowed in Revelation 13. When will the U.S. thus become the enforcing arm of the papacy? When is the wound healed? When church and state are no longer separate from each other. When the United States enacts a Sunday law forcing all to worship the beast. Then the wound will be completely healed and all the world will do what the papal system commands. If you want to learn more about the prophecies of Daniel, click on the links on this screen to watch more videos. Always remember, guesswork is not necessary. The Bible interprets itself. Until next time, God bless you.